Once upon a wood nail and hammer time, there was a man, Stefan, who wanted to build a mini drum kit, Bluetooth boombox. This was to be the most daring of missions ever known to woodwork kind, the most careful of planning, the finest of measurements, the most accurate of calculations, the most nerve-wracking of close calls, and a big bag of patience. But he was motivated, he was goal-driven, he was target-orientated, he was ambitious, he was the warrior. So he kindly requested his viewers to please support his channel by subscribing, after which he set off to the backyard man cave to lead his viewers through valleys of dust and fields of shavings to the most spectacular Bluetooth boombox the world has ever seen. To this day the question still remains. Was it won, or was it survived? Welcome to the Battle of Bluetooth. Alright, fairy tale's over, and now it's the ugly face of reality. Which means I won't be able to bend these drums in one go, as I'm working with pine wood that's been made up out of different pieces. So every time I bend these strips they keep tearing apart. Therefore I'm going to have to bend narrower pieces at a time and build up the drums from there. But be assured that won't be the only problem on the way. Much more where that comes from. I'll just try to fix it, and if I can't fix it, I'll live with it. Thank you for joining me on this heartwarming journey. I really appreciate every person watching. I wouldn't even dream of building this project without the use of my trusty old router. So as you'll see in many other parts of the video, the router made out a huge part of this project. Just bear in mind these speaker covers were cut from both sides of the board using the same pivot points. Hopefully the video will do that some justice. I really think it would have been a better option to cut these from the board with a jigsaw. The pivot point was worn out and caused this disaster, so I had to cut out the matching pieces from the board to glue and reshape them again. This happens at least once in every project. And this is exactly how the thin strips also tore apart while bending. But luckily with thicker pieces like these, it's really easy to glue and clamp them again. And just not tell everybody on YouTube. I don't want to say too much about my age, but let's just say I'm old enough to buy my own birthday gifts. So this year I surprised myself with a strum router. I did test it before, but this was really the first proper use. Remember this guy, we will see him again later. This mounting is for installing the sub speaker in the bass drum. I will be using a 6.5 inch bass speaker which I bought before making the drum. And then the drum turned out to be way bigger due to the scale ratio. That does leave some room for an upgrade in future, but for now I will use the speaker I bought already. I actually used an old cutting board that never sold on a flea market. So one beautiful morning I just woke up and decided there's not enough mountings in this project. Let's make some more. And let's cut a little pocket hole for a square nut threaded insert, so I can add an adjustment screw. Since I can't afford a Forstner drill set, because I clearly don't have enough subscribers yet, and I just know someone will find it in their heart to reach out and press that button. Thank you so much to everybody that's done that already. I had to drill the biggest possible hole, I think that was 10 millimeters, and then make it bigger using, that same old router. I'm using 4mm hex nuts as threaded inserts for mounting the front face of the control box. Assembling and possible dismantling for future repairs will not be possible if the front face is attached with glue. This is the heartbreaking story of the first time in my life that I managed to cut perfect 45-degree miter joints on quarter rounds. Sadly, these beautiful corners did not completely make their way to the finished project. Due to the power switch and power connector blocking the way of the mounting bolts of the control box, I had to adjust the position of the mounting bolts for the top part of the box, and since there was no other space available inside the box, I ended up drilling right through those beautiful quarter rounds. It was a very sad thing to accept, but on the bright side, now I know how to cut those joints. Okay, so there's just no way I'm gonna build a mini drum kit without cymbals and stands, even if it's just for decorations. My life doesn't work that way, so here's the deal. I made the stands partly out of aluminium and partly out of steel, since some pieces needed welding, and that wouldn't be possible with aluminium. Even after considering aluminium brazing and epoxy putty, welding still seemed to be the best option. If I had to do this again, I would only use steel, but since I had the aluminium pieces bought already, I thought I might as well just use it where no welding is required. I'm not the welder of the Southern Hemisphere. I will give it my best shot though, but I'm not going to brag with it. I guess we can call that another mounting. So if there's one thing I can say after this build, I know how to spell mounting. When I unboxed the trim router, I found it accompanied by this lovely little tap and die set, which I really have no idea how that got in there. I don't, really. I guess someone who spoiled me for my birthday loves me so much so I can have a tap and die set as well. Who am I to say no? I found this 4-piece stoveplate cover set at one of those shops where you just happen to find everything you didn't know you needed, for a very reasonable price, and they all just happened to be close to the size that I needed for the cymbals. What a lucky day. The last thing I ever thought I'd use to cut these was a pair of scissors. This is the snare drum mounting I made off camera using some scrap pieces of flat bar. And this is the mounting for the drum throne seat. And this is the guy I told you to remember. I just sanded it clean and slightly resized it, and now it is the drum throne seat. I also made the pedals off camera. I used this template to trace it out on the steel sheet, and then I cut it out using an angle grinder. I welded it to the footplate with a jewellery box hinge, and I made the front part with flat bar and small tubing pieces for the bearing housings. I never used to do sanding by hand, but sooner or later you will find a part of a project that can't really be sanded by machine. So just a little word of encouragement to like-minded people out there. It's not so bad. You live to tell the tale. And after all these years, I still know how to draw treble and bass clef cymbals. I wasn't sure how the gold-colored marker would work with the oak-colored stain, so this was a shot in the dark, but at least something must look like it comes from the yard at the back of the cave. This is the part of the varnish process when you realize that those screws were supposed to be removed after the glue dried. Look at that confused brush. The funny thing is, after I varnished, I was supposed to put them back again before assembling, and yes, I forgot again. But don't worry, I took care of it. Again. I used chrome spray for the stands and rich pale gold for the cymbals. The pedals were sprayed with gloss black. Not that I'm the spray painter of the Southern Hemisphere. Up to this point, everything was separate parts with no drawn plan. Seeing the picture in my mind becoming a reality was incredibly heartwarming. I'm using a 6.5-inch bass speaker and two 4-inch treble speakers. I also added some leftover green felt inside the drums. I'm not sure if it is the right material for this purpose since I'm not a speaker box expert, but it just felt like the right thing to do. think it's about time I introduce you to the heart of this project. This is a TPA3116D2 2.1 channel Bluetooth amplifier. I'm also not the electrician of the Southern Hemisphere, but I tried my best to at least make it look like I know what I'm doing. Sometimes I wonder if I actually live in the Southern Hemisphere. I guess I do, because that's where they ship this amplifier to. This is an acrylic insert to make the power indicator on the amplifier visible. I was very disappointed with the chrome spray rubbing off while assembling. Even after more than 24 hours of drying time, the spray kept rubbing off while handling the pieces. After assembling, I had to respray some pieces again. This is the snare belt I made out of steel mountings and an old guitar string. On the next project I might use this as an electric fence. I made the snare drum and the floor tom just as decorations with the cymbal stands, since the amplifier only has 2.1 channels, so there won't be any speakers in them. Also bear in mind that I decided not to install a rechargeable battery, since this will not really be a mobile speaker set. I never expected this pedal to have a built-in sound effect. It sounds like an old typewriter, a very slow one. I found these little foam stickers at that same shop where you always find everything you can't seem to find anywhere else. And then I found my way to the checkout. And then I found my way home. And then I found somewhere to put it. Does that make me a founder?
line in.
This wasn't part of the plan, but we all knew it was going to happen. I just have to do this. You were going to do this. Everybody was going to do this. I mean, really. Tell me you weren't going to do this.